So we're talking about the Barnsley success story this morning. In the past few years, the town has seen major regeneration, and it's been noticed by a lot of people. That includes the South Yorkshire Mayor, Oliver Coppard, who told us last week that Barnsley needs no advice on what makes a great area. So we sent our reporter, Simon Thank, to Barnsley to ask the people who call it home what makes Barnsley so special.
You know, all credit to the leadership of Barnsley Council because they've done a brilliant job. I would just recommend to anybody who is not positive about what town centres, city centres can look like in this modern age of internet shopping, etc., to go to Barnsley and see what can be done, what the possibilities look like.
Everybody's talking about Barnsley. That was the Mayor of South Yorkshire, Oliver Coppard, waxing lyrical about the town. Well, last month, Barnsley became the first council to win the 2 most prestigious awards in local government in the same year. Experience Barnsley, the brilliant local interest museum, is currently celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Even the football team's doing pretty well. It never used to be this way.
Boring.
Boring?
Plain. Like, there were just not really interesting about it.
A bit run down and a lot of charity shops like most town centres these days.
Well, it weren't attractive, it weren't nice to come in. Old-fashioned concrete buildings, everything were run down, parking facilities weren't very adequate.
So what changed? Well, here's a clue. It's big, it was expensive, and it's made of glass.
A groundbreaking ceremony has taken place in Barnsley for the second phase of the town centre redevelopment. This is the Glassworks, a £70 million scheme which will include shops, restaurants and a £4 million library.
Wonderful opportunity here for Barnsley to really remake itself.
This project had been on the wish list of Barnsley officials for years and years and years, embarrassingly so to some degree.
Now, if you've been to Barnsley recently, you can't miss the massive building works going on outside the markets. It's all part of the Glassworks development, which has gone over budget and battled delays due to COVID-19. The final bill is set to cost more than £200 million, but the team behind the retail project say it'll bring new jobs and new life into the town centre.
Well, it may have taken longer than expected and cost more, but the Glassworks certainly has brought life into the town centre and jobs too. Marie Herod runs one of the cafes here in the market kitchen on the top floor.
Just before COVID, we really started to turn everything round. We're having all old buildings done up. People were starting to talk about Barnsley. We've got all good pubs coming in because we had hardly any pubs. Then as soon as the good pubs started, people started coming back. Then the market stalls, because it were all being done up, because it were crumbling round us, and they built the new, and everything's just buzzed and become really popular, and now people are coming from all over, bus trips and everything, to come and see us, instead of us going to go see them. They're coming on night arts, we've seen loads of endos, stag parties, which we never had. It were always Leeds, Sheffield, and now on Saturday we saw 7 up here, and this was from like dinner time. Every bar's buzzing on a weekend.
Downstairs in the Glasswork, Nick owns Sweet Treats Barnsley. He's been in the trade all his life.
The Glassworks opening, it was the perfect storm because we've got a new market, a new town centre, all opening together, just as a cost of living crisis was just starting to arise. So people wanted to come to the market, firstly, to save money. That's how it used to be. People wanted to use markets to save money. But with the outside infrastructure now set up for family days, you've got a massive cinema, you've got shops that people want to come and use. It's just a nice place to come.
So we are downstairs in the Glassworks, and this is Lulu's Babywear, and your name is not Lulu, or is it?
No, it's Lindsay.
Hello, Lindsay. Talk to me about Barnsley Town Centre, because you saw that Oliver Coppard clip. You saw the clip and thought, well, I don't know, what did you think?
Well, obviously seeing it, it's great to hear that people from Sheffield love what we've done in Barnsley.
What do you put it down to if you were to say, if other town centres and, I know, council leaders were to come to Barnsley and say, how have they made this work? What have they done that's so right? Like, what would you say to them? What was the thing that worked, that clicked?
I honestly don't know answer, apart from it's Barnsley people and it's just what we do. Everybody comes together when, you know, there's something good, they share that buzz, and
it doesn't take long for that effect to then take hold, and everybody wants to come and see what we're doing. We get people from Wakefield, Chesterfield, Sheffield, Doncaster, Rotherham. They're all saying, our markets have been depleted and the councils have gone the wrong way with them, and it just seems that Barnsley have got it right. The fundamentals have been right.
Well, since we posted the video of Oliver Coppard on our social media pages, you have all been getting involved in the conversation. David Anson says his mum always took him to Barnsley to carry her shopping back in the 50s and 60s, pre-Meadowhall days. And Barnsley was 2 buses and nearly an hour. It was better for shops even then. Annette Mellis says, go Barnsley! I love coming home to see the new developments. Whilst David Long says, if you want to get more people into Sheffield city centre, then how about following Barnsley's lead and giving 3 hours free car park on a Saturday in council car parks? That's why I go there and not Sheffield. You can join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages. Well, on the line right now, and I feel like we need some kind of regal music or, some kind of fanfare, but I haven't got that, so I'm just going to play this. Ladies and gentlemen, the leader of Barnsley Council, Sir Steve Houghton, to the show. Mate, I'm not being funny. My goose pimples have got goose pimples on them. What about you?
Oh, it's just an amazing time in town. So much goodwill around. People seeing, I think, real hope for the future. Not just what we've got now, but anticipating this will get even better as time goes on. So, yeah, I can remember the dark days 25 years ago when obviously all the industrial changes happened and lots of unemployment and other things which have indicated already. And at that time it seemed, well, what does the future hold? Where are we going? It's a completely different world now and so much better, and it's great to hear so much enthusiasm from people.
Well, Steve, we're proud of it. We're absolutely proud of it. And I feel like just by listening to you there is that you care, and you've watched it.
It's my town. It's my borough. I've lived here all my life. I've seen the dark days. I've seen it obviously improve. I'm still aware of the challenges that are around. All councils, all areas, nothing's ever perfect. But yeah, it just feels so good to be part of something that's moving forward. And obviously the 2 awards we've won, not just for the Glassworks, but for the wider work the council does for the borough has really been the icing on the cake for everybody, because we've got a lot of staff who work really hard all year round. Rarely do they get any thanks for what they do, but this year people have given them that recognition, and it's just fantastic.
I'm going to say, you are getting it now, and I'd definitely be basking in it now. Obviously, like you've just mentioned there, no town is perfect. There's always room for growth. What are the next plans, would you say?
Well, we've got, in terms of physical change, two big areas. One is the town centre must continue, so we're looking at a business development area called the Seam around the courthouse car park area. We're looking at Yorkshire's first youth zone to help our young people, and of course the bridge is going to open in the town centre later on in the year. But 2 big areas we want to look at to make sure we can sustain this improvement in Barnsley. One is we've got lots of people still unemployed, the economically inactive, as the government calls it. But these are people very often who have mental health or physical problems, disabilities, skills issues, who find it hard to get employment. So we've launched our Pathways to Work programme, chaired by the former Labour Minister Alan Milburn, with the country's leading experts. How can we help people who currently struggle to find employment get the jobs and prosperity that we need? And then for the longer term, we were doing a piece of work about how we help our young people from 0 age to 16. How can we help them be the best they can be? Support them outside school so they can do well in school, but also make the most of not just their young lives, but prepare themselves for adulthood and work. So 2 big pieces of work going on, which are about making sure, yes, we get all the new jobs and houses and new town centre, but we make sure the people of Barnsley get the most out of it.
Sounds good to me. Certainly sounds good to me. You're going to have an influx of people wanting to move there. You understand this, don't you?
Well, they're always welcome. If they bring in some extra prosperity and some spending into our town centre, Please come. We want a strong economy. We've seen the other side of the coin, and we don't want to go back there.
Exactly. Let me know what the rental market's like, Duck. I'm easily persuaded. I'm quite fickle. But you know what, though? Again, sort of there will be people listening to this. There will be people from other councils, across Sheffield and Chesterfield, etc. What advice would you give them? I know it's a difficult one because I can imagine you are quite a humble person that doesn't want to put themselves in that situation. But you're obviously doing something that they're not. And what do you reckon it is?
I'm not sure we're doing things other councils are not doing. I think what we've been doing it is for a much longer period of time. As your introduction told, the Glassworks didn't appear overnight. It took a number of years and a long-term commitment to get it to the place that it is now. And in many ways, that's the key. What doesn't help is chop and change. This year we want that, next year we want something else, the year after we've changed our minds again. I think you have to have long-term 5-10 year planning, be willing to commit to that over time, face up to the challenges that come along. As you've said, costs change. We've had COVID. There were times in the Glassworks scheme when I despaired. I could say, will this thing ever happen? Because there always seemed to be something else getting in the way. I think you've got to have the commitment to drive through those problems and come out the other end. I do know across South Yorkshire, Sheffield, Rotherham, Doncaster are all working on their own plans. They're all trying to improve their places, which is great because the collective of South Yorkshire then becomes much stronger. If we can help them along that journey, absolutely fine. If we can't, doesn't matter. Get on with it. Do what you can because the rewards of your scene are just huge.
Amazing. And finally for now, Steve, we've been asking this question today off the back of this, actually. Why do you love where you live? So why do you love where you live, Steve?
Why do I love where I live? I mean, I was born here. It's the place I've known all my life. I know the people inside out, all the good sides of that and sometimes not so good sides. I just am Barnsley is what I am. I was born, as I say, born and bred. It's drilled into me. If I was cut in half like a stick of rock, people say, would it say Labour or whatever? No, it just says Barnsley, really. Now, that can be a good thing or a bad thing, I'm sure, but that's just the reality of it.
That is absolutely superb to hear, Steve. Thank you so much for coming on in the chat with us today, and thank you for all the amazing work that you're doing. So Steve Houghton there, the leader of Barnsley Council. How delicious. I want to know from you, please, why do you love where you live? If they chopped you in half, would you bleed blue or would you bleed pink? Well, what would you be representing, please?